That was This Is Halloween. What a tune on this very spooky evening. You're tuned in to the Halloween special show with DJ Ty from London, capital city, on Diverse FM 102.8, London's biggest hit music station, playing all of the hits all of the time in full partnership with your Dingle FM here on Spreaker.com. It is 10:30. The show will be coming to a close very, very soon. We've got a couple more bits to play you this evening, and then it will be time to say goodbye. Apologies to all of our listeners for being such a short show tonight. But as I said, I didn't really have much time to throw together a superb Halloween show as planned. Right guys, I think it's now time for a bit of banter and fun. We're going to have some classic Halloween Diverse FM 102.8 prank calls. This one is brought to you by the man himself from the Scream trilogy.
Hello, Sydney?
Sydney?
Could I please speak to Sydney?
Who's Sydney?
Yes, Sydney. Could I please speak to Sydney?
There's no Sydney who works here.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you Sydney?
I'm not Sydney.
You sound like Sydney.
Is this some kind of joke?
A joke? I'm not laughing. Are you Sydney?
I'm not Sydney.
You sound like Sydney.
Well, what does Sydney sound like?
In fact, you kind of look like her. Don't you think you look like Sydney?
Not really.
Are you sure? Do you like scary movies?
Okay, anyways, have a good day.
Do you like comedies? What kind of movies do you like, Sydney? What's your favorite movie?
Okay, anyways, I don't have time right now for this, so bye.
You don't have time for me?
How may I direct your call?
Hello? Who is this?
Lidrea.
Who?
Lidrea, I'm an operator.
Hello, Ridrea. How are you?
Fine.
So, Ridrea, do you have a boyfriend? I need a little help. I'm trying to find a good idea for a gift, and I wanted to get a movie. I just don't know. I don't know.
Find what, sir?
What?
I'm sorry, you need an idea?
Yeah, I need an idea for a gift, and I wanted to buy a movie, but I don't know what kind of movies that females like. Like for my girlfriend. I don't know if I should go with comedy, or romance, or maybe scary.
Romantic.
Romantic?
Yeah, every woman like romantic.
Well, what is your favorite movie?
Mine?
Yes. Like, what would be your favorite movie?
I have so many. I like Julia Roberts. You remember Julia Roberts?
Oh, yeah. Julia Roberts?
Yeah, that's my favorite actress.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love most of her movies. What about Pretty Woman? That was awesome.
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a huge fan of comedy myself. You know, like Jim Carrey is the bomb.
That's a good one.
He makes me laugh all the time. I'm a huge fan of Pet Detective. Do you like Pet Detective?
Yes.
Yes. So if you were going to recommend a Julia Roberts movie, which kind of movie, like which one of hers would you recommend?
Okay, if you come down here, I'll show you a couple. I'm in the fitting room.
Uh-huh. You're what?
I work in the fitting room.
Uh-huh.
Miss Nivens.
Okay.
And if you come down here, I'll show you a couple. And then I'll make for you to pick one, whatever one you choose.
Wow. Aren't you just a sweetheart?
Thank you, baby.
I really appreciate it.
And you have a good day.
I might have to leave my girl for you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Move over, right?
Okay. But
Okay.
I'll be here to help you.
Okay, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Uh-huh. Bye.
Thanks for calling Henderson Walmart.
Hello? Hello.
Walmart, go ahead, please.
Yes, do you carry toilet paper?
Yes.
Do you carry a lot of different kinds of toilet paper?
I guess there's an assortment, yes.
Yeah. Well, you should sell a lot of toilet paper, seeing as how everything in your store is shit.
Yeah, very funny. Goodbye.
Okay guys, welcome back. That was one of our classic Diverse FM 102.8 pranks, a Halloween special, brought to all of our listeners tuned into the Halloween special with DJ Ty on Diverse FM 102.8. That is brought to you by the man himself, the voice of the Scream trilogy. I think being Halloween, guys, it's time for another spooky story.
So I was definitely isolated from the rest of the girls. And I would literally wake up and I'd have like scratches and some bruises. There was definitely this very violent energy in my room.
It's a very intense time. I would hear sound, I'd sense the presence of things. I just knew there was somebody in that house.
I really wouldn't say I was a believer in ghosts kind of person, but this was so physical. I was scared.
I woke up all of a sudden to this thing. It wouldn't let me breathe. It kept choking me. I thought I was going to die.
Okay guys, that was a celebrity ghost story, a very, very short one, playing that for you all tuned into the Halloween special show here on Diverse FM 102.8 in full partnership with Jordingo FM. Thanks for tuning in tonight guys. Hope you're enjoying the show, even though it is a very short one and it wasn't put together as planned, but still I rushed some bits together and brought you what I have brought you this evening that you are currently listening to. Now I think it's only fair being Halloween that we go for a double whammy. Here's another ghost story. This one is the Dirty Hitchhiker.
This story begins at night. A man drives down a dark road. It may be unfamiliar to him, and he may not be sure where he's going. After a while, he feels a little lost. Suddenly, up ahead, a figure looms in his headlights. He slows down and sees that it's a young girl hitchhiking. It's strange that she'd be out here in the middle of nowhere. He stops to ask if everything is okay. She asks for a ride home. He says that's fine and tells her to hop in. As they head down the road, he notices that she looks pale. The air around her feels cold, and she's strangely quiet. Finally, the driver asks where she's going.
So, where are you heading to?
She gives him directions to her home. She says she hasn't been there in a long time. The driver thinks she's a runaway, and that he's doing a good deed by giving her a lift. They pull up to her parents' house in a typical neighborhood, and she climbs out. But as the driver is about to take off, he notices that the strange girl has left her scarf on the passenger seat. Looking around, he's surprised to discover she's gone. Weird. He didn't see her go inside. So with the scarf in hand, he heads for the house to return it. He knocks on the door and is met by a normal-looking gentleman. The driver explains about giving the daughter a ride and how she left her scarf in the car. Suddenly, the man's wife reacts with shock.
She just kind of disappeared to my...
The driver wonders what's wrong.
That scarf belonged to our daughter.
The husband brings him inside and explains that his daughter died in a car crash 5 years ago, on the same dark road where she was picked up. She was buried with the scarf. Our driver's young passenger was a ghost. This classic tale is one of the oldest urban legends. Versions of it go back to the New Testament. In Acts 8:26, an Ethiopian traveling in his chariot is met by the Apostle Philip, who baptizes him and then vanishes. Similar stories about Pele, Hawaii's volcano goddess, have been told since the days of the horse-drawn carriage. Tradition says she first came to Hawaii in search of a fiery home. To this day, she's said to appear along Hawaiian roads, often as an old woman asking for a ride.
The Vanishing Hitchhiker is closer to a traditional ghost story. What makes the Vanishing Hitchhiker a modern story is the automobile, but in fact the idea of roadside ghosts hitching rides is a very old idea. The particular Vanishing Hitchhiker story does seem to have antecedents that go back several centuries that we can document. There are some stories that deal with people on horseback who are accosted by a ghost who leap up behind them, and they have to get rid of them. But some of the elements of the Vanishing Hitchhiker are not there, such as it's very clear in these stories that this is a ghost or some kind of supernatural entity, whereas in the Vanishing Hitchhiker, that's only revealed at the end. We don't know what this hitchhiker is until the person discovers that the hitchhiker's been dead for several years.
What's tantalizing about the Vanishing Hitchhiker story is that it involves a trace of physical evidence, the scarf, a compelling touch that gives the story a jolt of realism. The tale is told in many forms, and each involves a bit of so-called evidence unique to that telling. Such evidence does seem to be a requirement for a ghost story to reach the level of an urban legend. Stories like the tragedy of the Texas ghost children. According to the tale, many years ago, on a gloomy afternoon in Austin, a school bus full of children stalled out as it tried to cross the tracks of the Southern Pacific Railroad. As fate would have it, a train came roaring down the track at just that moment, dooming the young occupants.
Story goes that ever since the freight train school bus accident, the spirits of the children who were killed have clung to this particular spot. And if a car parks some distance away and the gears are put into neutral, and even though it's a slight uphill road, the car will suddenly start moving as if unseen little hands are pushing it along to be sure it will go over the tracks safely and not stall on the tracks, as the school bus did that very tragic October afternoon.
And to this day, those who try this trick with talcum powder on their bumper discover what some say are fingerprints of the young children. Physical evidence to back up the legend, or so it's claimed. But stories like this, and the Vanishing Hitchhiker, are still tough to verify, even by professional ghost hunters.
In my experience as a researcher, I've never been able to connect to the actual person who's witnessed this kind of an experience, which is what makes it an urban legend. We can't seem to connect to the person who's had the real experience. We hear it secondhand from someone else.
If that's the case, then why do we let ghost stories scare us so much?
I think the major reason we're frightened of ghosts is a broader reason that we call the fear of the unknown. If we don't understand what a ghost is, we don't know what its capabilities are. What can it do to us? How do we defend ourselves? So I think we're frightened because of the unknown.
And I think the urban legends give people a way to practice handling these fears by telling a story that almost could have happened and gives us a chance to feel that little adrenaline rush of what would I do if this happened to me.
People have been talking about ghosts for thousands of years. These stories have appeared in all cultures since the beginning of time. One of the reasons, I suspect, is because it tells us a lot about who we are. If ghosts are real, what are the implications? Does it mean we survive death? This is certainly one of the most interesting questions mankind has ever faced.